Shabbat Shalom, how are you? Good to see you. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. Yeah, we went to the beach. We did Shabbat by the bay. How are you? Good, thank you. The Shabbat by the bay. Yeah. So, yeah. Very big weekend. Yes. We've got a speaker tonight. Tomorrow it's his time. He's going to speak around 7ish.
So just right after
Oh,
this?
during service.
Oh, during the
Yeah,
service?
during
Sure.
service.
What is the speaker? Who is the speaker?
It's Rabbi Jeremy Bruce, but he's
All right, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom. So, good to be back. Good to be back. You know, I prefer my vacations not when I'm sick, but I'll take my time away. Before we get started with our service, before we introduce our guest speaker and teacher for this Shabbat, I'd like for everybody just take a moment to turn to each other, turn to the people you came with, turn to the people you don't recognize, wish them a Shabbat Shalom, especially in the case of names. If you don't know somebody's name, ask their name, introduce themselves. It's very important, right? Introduce. Very lovely.
By the way,
Hey, very nice to
meet
meet you.
you.
Pleasure. All right. Lovely. Very good. So on this beautiful Shabbat, and back in our beautiful space here, it's our privilege to welcome our guest teacher for not just Shabbat, but through Sunday as well, Rabbi Jeremy Bruce. We welcome you, and forgive me, Mrs. Bruce, I didn't get your first name, and I don't know what it is. Joe. So we welcome the two of you. You may hear from their accents that they're not originally from close by, but they have, in more recent years, been residing in a place that I was just sharing means a lot to me in Cleveland, Ohio, and with many wonderful things that we're bringing. And are we in town just for Shabbat and then going home? All right, well, we're going to make the most of that experience with you, and lots of opportunities to learn with Rabbi Bruce tonight, tomorrow at Torah study, Sunday morning, each of which, again, bringing forth a very important legacy of teaching. From Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Zichrono Livracha, may his memory always be for a blessing, a teacher to the Jewish people, a teacher that I have, in my time here at the temple, relied upon many times, especially in moments when I don't know what to say, or I don't have something prepared, or I'm not sure what to do. 9 times out of 10, the first source that I would go to is to Rabbi Sachs. And I know I'm not alone in that regard. So to have somebody, again, Rabbi Bruce, your own yichus, your own wonderfulness is what we welcome this weekend. But we also welcome this brilliant teacher of our people who, sadly, we lost far too early in life. And we're looking to many opportunities to learn again over the Shabbat. And I do want to thank also Alan Levitt, who is sitting right behind, our co-president and member of our temple for many, many, many years, for helping to introduce us and to bring this wonderful opportunity of learning to our community. So with that said, I'm now going to invite one of our board members and our wonderful friend, Nicole Gruenstein, who is going to light and bless our 2 sets of Shabbat candles. A reminder again, we light a set for us here in Sag Harbor and another for the hostages, who we hope each Shabbat will be able to return home and light again for themselves. We're on page 120, again, page 120. So we'll turn now to page 130 as we begin Kabbalat Shabbat toward the very top of the page.
Lechu v'navena l'Adonai nariya letzur ishenu. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, litzori shenu nekadma fana betoda. Naria, naria, litzori shenu bizmirod naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai.
We'll turn now to page 131, Shiru l'Adonai.
Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai baruchu shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato, safru v'goyim kevo. בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו.
We turn now to the bottom of page 132.
אור זרו על הצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה, אור זרו על הצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה, שמחו צדיקים באדוני והודו לזכר קודשו, שמחו צדיקים באדוני והודו לזכר קודשו.
We turn now to the top of page 134.
זמרו לאדוני בכינור, בכינור בקול זמרה, בחצוצרות וקול שופר, הרים לפני המלך אדוני, ירם הימולות, תבל ויושביה, נהרות ימחאו כף יחד, הרים ירננו, לפני אדוני קיווה, לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים במישרים, ירם הימולות, תבל ויושביה, נהרות ימחאו כף יחד, הרים ירננו.
We're now on page 135, the last Hebrew paragraph in the middle of the page.
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו, רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו, כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו, רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו, רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו.
We'll turn now to page 136.
מזמור לדוד, אבו לאדוני בני אלים, אבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, אבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, כל אדוני על המים אל הכבוד הרים, אדוני על מים רבים, אדוני על מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון, וסיריון כמו בן רמים, כמו כמו בן רמים. קול אדוני חוצב להבות אש, קול אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש, קול אדוני יחולל לילות, ויחשוף יערות, ובהיכלו כולו מרכבות, כולו מרכבות, כולו מרכבות. כה אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום.
We'll turn now to Lecha Dodi on page 138. We'll do the first, second, fifth, and ninth paragraph, and for the final paragraph, we'll rise and face the doors we walked through just a few moments ago.
Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabla, nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabla, nekabela. Shamor vezachor b'dibur echad, Ishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, Leshem u'tiferet ve'litila. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabla, nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabla, nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor haberacha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat echila. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabla, nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabla, nekabela. Hitoreri, ki va'orech kumiori. Uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alaych nigla. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabla, nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabla, nekabela. Boi veshalom ateret bala, gam besimcha uvtzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabla, nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, nekabla, nekabela.
Please be seated as we turn to page 140.
Sadikata marifrach, keres balvanon iske, shetulim bevet Adonai. Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim verananim iyu lehagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri velo avlatabo.
Now rise in body or spirit for the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144 and remain standing for the Baruch Hu on the next page. Yitkadal vehitkadash shemei rabba ve'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei lechol Beit Yisrael bagala bagala uv'izman kariv v'eimeru amen yeshmei rabba mevarach Le'alam li'al me'amaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'yimeru amen. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. We'll turn together to page 148 and read together in English at the bottom of the page. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening.
Umhavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Amariv haravi.
Amen. We'll turn now to page 150 and we'll read together in English toward the bottom of the page. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, v'hem negei yomam v'layla, ve'avatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please join us on the top of page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך ושרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, נהייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. We'll turn now to page 157. We'll read together in English toward the very top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. There is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. So we turn to page 158.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות תוסף אלה, נורא תהילות תוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כיפר אדוני את יעקב, וגלום יד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Hashkivenu is on the top of page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeitenu, uvoenu, lechaim ushalom, me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'porei sukkah shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Amen. We turn to Vishamru on the top of page 162.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Invite us now to rise in body or spirit as we begin the Amidah together on page 164. From that point on, we'll continue silently. As always, please go at your own pace. When you're finished at the end, if you're still standing, you may be seated.
Adonai. שפתי תפתחו פיה תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Shalom Rav Israel Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Israel Amecha Tasim Leolam. Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Israel Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Israel Amecha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amecha Yisrael bechol et uvechol shah bishlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam.
We'll turn now to page 371 as we prepare to offer our Mishaberach, our healing prayer for this evening. In a moment, I'll give everyone a moment of silence to think of those that you are most connected to, that you're praying for this evening, but of course to also make space as we continue to pray for our brothers and sisters in Israel, and unfortunately in the last couple of weeks to, of course, think of those in Texas after all these terrible floods. Truly, again, Mishaberach is a prayer of, as much as anything, focusing our attention, focusing our prayer to those that most desperately need it. So please take a moment for yourselves, and then we'll join together with Cantor Will on page 371.
Mi sheberach avoteinu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the soul of strength, who bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu, mekor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We now offer our prayer for Israel in time of war. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, you know that the Jewish people are one nation with one heart, and now that heart is broken. O healer of broken hearts, binder of their wounds, be with our brothers and sisters who've been taken captive and with the families of the victims. Watch over the hostages, break their bonds, and bring them out from darkness to light. Proclaim release to the captives, liberation to the imprisoned. Comfort the families, bring them under the shelter of your wings. Bring complete healing of body and spirit to all of the wounded. Bind up our wounds and grant us healing. Tzur Yisrael v'goalo, rock and redeemer of the people Israel, bless the state of Israel, the initial manifestation of our redemption. Shield it with your care, spread over it your shelter of peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Grace them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend us. Crown their efforts with victory. Bless the land with peace, its inhabitants with lasting joy. Shomer Yisrael, guardian of Israel. Strengthen and bless the defenders of Israel who stand guard on the land and in the air and on the sea. May we see the promise of the psalmist realized. You turn my mourning into dancing, my sackcloth into robes of joy. God, protect, preserve, and restore peace and well-being to Israel, your people, and together we say,
Amen.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is now my honor and my privilege to introduce our guest teacher for this Shabbat and Sunday. Rabbi Jeremy Bruce is the Director of Programming at the Rabbi Sachs Legacy Foundation. Rabbi Bruce holds a BA in International History and Politics from the University of Leeds, a Master's in Education Management from King's College London. He is currently completing a doctorate in educational leadership. Born and raised in London, Rabbi Bruce has worked for over 20 years in the educational field in the United Kingdom and the United States. He was also an adjunct lecturer at the London School of Jewish Studies, where he regularly taught both Bible and Jewish philosophy. We are very honored, very privileged to invite up Rabbi Bruce to share again the wisdom of our collective teacher, Rabbi Sachs, Zichrono Livracha, and of course to welcome Joe as well to our community. Thank you both for being here this Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. This is your beautiful synagogue. This is such a wonderful place to be in Sag Harbor, Long Island. Wow. So first of all, I really want to thank Rabbi Dan and Cantor Will and Alan Levitt for inviting us and the whole community to come here to join you for Shabbat. We've come all the way from Cleveland. It's very similar to Sag Harbor, Cleveland. And it's wonderful to be here. But it's also a true honor for me to speak about my teacher, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs of blessed memory. So our organization, the Rabbi Sachs Legacy, grew out of Rabbi Sachs's office 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago, in his untimely passing in November of 2020. And the office that really supported his work and the trustees and the family asked the question, well, what do we do now that he's gone, that he was so important to the Jewish people around the world? And that there was an idea that perhaps things would stop. But they decided, no, we're going to create an organization that's going to continue to promote his ideas across the world. But there was a fear that perhaps as time went on, and as I said, we're almost 5 years since he passed, the people would perhaps start to forget Rabbi Sachs and his teachings. We needn't have worried. People stay today. Where is a Rabbi Sachs? We need his voice. We need his wisdom to stand and defend us in the world in very difficult times. And that's really what I wanted to talk to you about, because although we don't have him here with us today, we do have his teachings. He wrote over 40 books in his lifetime, and we're publishing more and more now. So I want to share with you this idea, some ideas from him that help us understand how to make sense and how to heal a fractured world. So as many of you know, Rabbi Sacks was one of the most impactful Jewish leaders of the past century. He influenced, and this is not an exaggeration, millions of people around the world, both Jews and non-Jews. From kings and queens to presidents and prime ministers. Just last year, we were amazed and astonished that the previous president quoted Rabbi Sacks no less than 3 times in the White House. This was many years after his passing. It's astonishing to us. But one of his favorite stories, which he used to tell, he used to love telling this story, was the time that he was knighted by the Queen. You know the knighting, you know, the sword, the quaint little British custom that we have? So, you know, he became a lord, but before he became a lord, he was a sir, a knight. So, as you may know, if you've ever seen the ceremony, that when you get knighted by the Queen, or now the King, you need to kneel down in front of the monarch, and he or she takes the sword and dubs you, and that's the ceremony. But there's a problem in Jewish law, because Jews can't really bow before any human being, even someone as great as the late Queen. So his office reached out to the palace and explained this issue, and they agreed that what would happen in this circumstance was that he would stand and he would incline his head at the right time. And he did so, and the truth is that many Jews do this subsequently. But the Queen, this is the first time the Queen has seen this, and she was very curious, and she asked her aides, I don't really quite understand what's so different here. Why is this night different from all other nights? I also want to share with you, though, some personal stories. When I was a young rabbi many, many years ago, I first started out in England as an assistant rabbi. I had an issue, I can't remember what it was, but it was pretty urgent. And I called out Rabbi Sacks' office and I said, can I speak to the chief rabbi? And I expected to get an appointment to speak to the chief rabbi in a week or 2 weeks. And his chief of staff said, Rabbi Sacks will call you. So, okay, Rabbi Sacks. 10 minutes later, I pick up the phone. Jeremy, it's the chief rabbi. Now, I don't remember what he's told me, but it was good advice. But that wasn't what I remembered. I remembered that the chief rabbi, who, as I just said, was friends of current King Charles, prime ministers, presidents, when a young rabbi called his office and asked for help, he dropped everything to call me back. That, to me, is astonishing. And I want to tell you another story, even more personal. Rabbi Sacks, as chief rabbi, used to tour all the schools. And about 18 years ago, when my son, who's now 21, was 3 or so, Rabbi Sacks went to his kindergarten. And my son at the time was quite gregarious, outgoing, and the chief rabbi walks in, and my son stands up and says, "You know my dad." And Rabbi Sacks at that moment did the following. I wish I could reenact it. He kneeled down, he bent down, he put his arm around my son and says, "You know, I do know your father." And he asked the teacher, "Please take a photo of us and send it to your parents." We still have that photo on our wall. This is only a small element of Rabbi Sacks' greatness. It's one thing to be an international intellectual superstar, but also to have a sense of humility and care about a small child. To me, that's astonishing. And that's why I'm honored to be able to share his ideas with you, and please God for many years to come. Rabbi Sacks would often quote this idea. Why was Abraham chosen to be the first Jew? If you look at the Torah, There are no indications of what made him special. There's no backstory. There's no resume. And our rabbis, our sages, are bothered by this absence. And they filled in the gaps, as they did in many cases, with midrashim, midrash. The famous story, which you may remember, is the one with Abraham is standing with the idol shop, and the one with the big mallet in the biggest idol's hand. That's one of the reasons. But there's another story which is less well known. Here's the midrash. I'm going to read it to you. God said to Abraham, "Go forth from your land, Lech Lecha." Rabbi Yitzchak said this can be compared to a man traveling from place to place, when suddenly he sees a castle in flames. He looks and he says, "Is it possible this palace, this castle, lacks an owner to look after it?" At that moment, the owner peeks out and says, "I am the master of the castle." The Midrash continues, "So too, Abraham saw a world in flames, and God said to him, 'I am the master of the universe.'" Abraham notices the palace in flames. And he says, how come the king, the owner, is not putting out the flames? The moment he asks that question, God peeks out and says, "I am here. Go forth from your land." What does this midrash mean? What are we being told here? Midrashim are not simple children's stories. They're incredibly deep philosophical ideas. Rabbi Sachs taught that ultimately this story is simple, but not exactly clear. He teaches us that the world is indeed on fire. And the question that Abraham faced and we face is, what does it mean to be moral in a world that feels like it's burning? What does it mean to be Jewish in such a world? It's not just about Abraham, it's about us. The idea, therefore, is that we are not just travelers and spectators. God peeks out and he demands of us that we partner with him. And that partnership means joining with him in the work of putting out the flames. In To Heal a Fractured World, one of Rabbi Sachs's wonderful books, he writes that one of Judaism's most radical ideas is its ethics of responsibility. God, he says, invites us to become his partners in the work of creation. That means, in practice, that we are called not to curse the darkness, but to bring light. Not to be overwhelmed by injustice, but to take a stand. Not to despair, but to build. So what does he mean by this ethics of responsibility? He taught that the word for responsibility in Hebrew is achrayut, and that comes from the word acher, meaning other. Responsibility is not what I claim, but what others need from me. He points out beautifully that we are very obsessed in the West with our rights. My right. What is my right? What do you need to do for me? But he said responsibility is the exact opposite. Rights are passive, he says. Responsibilities are active. Rights make demands we make on others. Responsibilities are demands that others make on me. A responsibility-based culture exists in the active mode. It emphasizes giving over receiving, doing, not complaining. In his last book, Morality, he argues that our society has become too much an I society, a me society. What are my rights? And we need to transition from a rights society to a responsibility society, from an I society to a we society. And this is the foundation of a moral society. We have to see the fact that we are here to make a difference a day at a time, an act at a time, as long as it takes to make the world a place of justice and compassion. Rabbi Sachs would reflect on how we measure a meaningful light. It's rarely through titles, status, or accolades. More often, it's through the ways we showed up for others. Those, I think David Brooks calls them the idea of like eulogy. You have a resume characteristics and you have the eulogy characteristics. None of us at the end of our lives are going to say, you know what, I should have spent more time in the office. But we might say, I should have spent more time with our families, helping others. He gave this beautiful story, true story. In 1966, this is an example of what he means. A young black boy moved with his family into a predominantly white neighborhood in Washington, D.C. On their first day, he and his siblings sat on the front stoop waiting to see how they would be received. Passers-by glanced but said nothing. No smiles, no welcome. The young boy writes later, I knew we were not welcome here. I knew we would have no friends here. But then something remarkable happened. A white woman walked by, smiled, and said warmly, welcome. And a few minutes later, she returned with a tray of drinks and sandwiches, cream cheese and jelly, as he would recall this young man for the rest of his life. That small, spontaneous act changed everything. It dissolved fear. It gave this young man a sense of belonging. It taught him that kindness could transcend race, suspicion, and silence. That woman was Sarah Kestenbaum, a traditional Jew. That young man was Stephen Carter, who would become the professor of law at Yale University. And he wrote a wonderful book called Civility, where he told this story. He described Sarah's act as an act of grace, and one he never forgot. It is no coincidence, he writes, that Sarah was Jewish, because in the Jewish tradition, such civility is called chesed, acts of kindness, rooted in the idea that we are all made in the image of God. He adds, it's so beautiful, this idea. This is his words. To this day, I can close my eyes and feel on my tongue the smooth, slick sweetness of the cream cheese and jelly sandwiches that I gobbled on that summer afternoon when I discovered how a single act of genuine and unassuming civility can change a life forever. It's astonishing. Sarah Kestenbaum never knew the impact she had. Rabbi Sachs writes that he was speaking about this in DC, and someone came over to him and said, I knew Sarah Kestenbaum. And I've got an addendum to this story because one of our Sachs scholars was talking about this story, and Sarah Kestenbaum's grandchild was in the room. And it was, so the story carries on. This keeps on giving. This week's parasha, we learn about the famous prophet Balaam, and King Balak of the Moabites, who was afraid of the Israelites, that they would come and conquer his land. And he hires the prophet Balaam to come and curse the Jewish people. But something strange happens. You know, there's the story with the ass and the talking donkey. Great story. All humor. It's a really humorous, deliberately humorous. But when he gets to curse the Jewish people, every time Balaam opens his mouth to curse, a blessing emerges. One of our most beautiful blessings comes from this week's parasha. Ma tovu alecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. But how did this happen? He intended to curse the children of Israel. Rabbi Sachs notes that Balaam looked down on the Israelite camp saw a people living in moral order, not chaos. A people bound by responsibility, not entitlement. A society governed not just by rights, but by a covenant, an agreement to help one another. And in that moment, even Balaam, a man hired to curse, saw the power of holiness and community. So as we return to the central message of this sermon and of Rabbi Sachs's life, we are not just individuals seeking meaning. We are partners with God in healing a fractured world. We are here helping him to put out the flames. In his famous TED Talk, that is one of the most watched from our website, he ends with the most stirring message. We are stronger when we care for the weak. We are richer when we care for the poor. And we are invulnerable when we care for the vulnerable. We, according to Rabbi Sachs, are God's ambassadors on this earth, called to embody justice, compassion, and moral courage in our daily lives. His vision was both inspiring and practical. We can face any future without fear, so as long as we know we will not face it alone. And this is the path forward. We feel so isolated as a community. We feel so put upon. It's been a terrible 2 years, and it's not over yet. As you so beautifully said earlier, we all hope the hostages will return very soon. Please God, there will be a deal, and this will actually happen very soon. But Rabbi Sachs reminds us, Jewish faith is written in the future tense. It is belief in the future that is not yet, but what could be. Even in the darkest times, the future-oriented faith empowers us to act, to believe that our small acts of kindness, integrity, and courage matter, that we are part of something greater, that our actions make a difference and begin to put out the flames. In our current moment, when the world often feels like it's in flames, Rabbi Sachs's teachings offer not false comfort, but genuine hope. That hope that comes from knowing that we are not alone. Our actions matter, and together we can build societies worthy of human dignity. As he said, we are here to make a difference, a day at a time, an act at a time, for as long as it takes to make the world a place of justice and compassion. Shabbat Shalom.
Bruce, thank you. I'm so grateful that this is not our only time to have the opportunity to learn from you and with you, and I'll say more about our next opportunities, but simply to say thank you. Brilliant, truly brilliant. I'll invite the congregation now to rise and turn to page 586 at the bottom of the page, Aleinu L'Shabech.
Aleinu L'Shabech L'Adon HaKol, L'Atet Kedua L'Yotzer Breshit, Shelo Asanu K'Goyei HaAratzot, Velo Samanu K'Mishpachot HaAdama, Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem, V'Gor Aleinu K'Chol Hamonam, Anachnu Korim U'Mishtachrim U'Modim, Lifnei Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'Nemar V'Hai Adonai L'Melech Al Kol Haaretz, V'Yom Ha'u Yeh Adonai Echad, U'Shemo Echad.
Ask those in mourning and those observing yahrzeit to please remain standing. Everyone else may be seated at this time. We think first of those who passed in our community in recent months. Heather Abrams, Stephen Dickman, Harry Fadum, Michael Fagenbaum, Sharon Lee Goldblatt, Barbara Goldfarb, Harry Heller, David Carlin, Morris Kramer, Leonard Lauder, Ann Lieber, Jeanette Meyerowitz, Jeffrey Miller, Phyllis Cole-Rowan, Gloria Sapiro, Luis Silberman, Randy Wasserman, and Joel Wintner. We also marked the art sites that occurred during the last week for Louis Appel, Rosalind Bromberg, Joseph Egelfeld, Lila Ehrenbard, Hannah Epstein, Cecile Friedlander, Fred Gorodnik, Sandy Goldstein, Marion Hammer, Shirley Herr, Sam Hirsch, Joel Jacobs, Rose Jaffe, Alan Klelnitsky, Laura Labatten, Esther Levine, Oscar Linden, Nancy Love, Dora Miller, Melvin Nelson, Lynn Ostro, Max Raich, Dr. Milton Schreiber, Stephen Shapiro, Marlise Silverberg, Edna Spinner, Harry Spitz, Moreno Harab, Rabbi Paul Steinberg, Joanna Susser, Abba Weinstein, and Nathaniel Weinstein. In addition to those names that I just shared, is anyone saying Kaddish for anyone we did not mention? Invite those in mourning to join me on page 598. If it's your custom to rise alongside them, you may do so at this time. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbav.
Amen.
Ve'almad tivrach cherutei ve'amlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. B'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mevarach la'alam u'li'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudsha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, u'yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha, may every one of their memories be for blessing. Please be seated. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Again, my gratitude to Rabbi Bruce, to Joe. Thank you so much for traveling all the way from the Holy Land of Cleveland to join us here. And maybe one day we'll come and visit you also. I got family I got to come see. But we thank you for being with us and being with us, again, not just through Shabbat, but also Sunday. So we'll have an opportunity to learn tomorrow with Rabbi Bruce at Torah study. Of course, we have services beginning at 10 o'clock. You can join us for that as well. We'll be here again at 12 o'clock. Just one note, out of respect and deference to our guests who are Shomer Shabbat, it's the only time really where we are not going to have a hybrid Torah study or Zoom Torah study. It's just in person. So please, please, please come here in person, learn with us, eat with us. We will have a wonderful time, I assure you. And then on Sunday morning, we will have an opportunity again at 9:30, and we'll feed you yet again. Very important. Im Kamach in Torah. Okay, we're going to learn together beginning at 9:30. We'll have a chance to eat and schmooze a little bit, and then I think we'll begin our learning at 10 o'clock. And so tomorrow we're going to learn the people of the book, Rabbi Sachs, on the secret of Jewish survival, and on Sunday, the great partnership, the dialogue between science and religion. So I look in this direction because we have a wonderful program here at the temple in which we investigate exactly this conversation, science and religion. So this is right up our alley for certain, and we're going to have a wonderful time learning all together. Just a few other things to note. We only have a few spots left for our annual Havdalah Harbor Cruise, and wonderful that our student cantor Will, I believe, is going to join us.
I am?
Apparently, that's what Shelley tells you. That's what
How exciting!
Once the announcement says it, it's real.
Then it's me.
That must be the case.
It's Bashar.
So if you've never done this is really one of the great treats of our summer. There are still a few spots left. Please contact Shelley. She will walk you through all of that. Reminder also that my resumption of A History of Zionism, the State of Israel class will begin this Monday. It'll be here live or on Zoom. Again, those that would be interested in joining, does not matter if you were in my previous class, does not matter if you know a lot or know a little. This is an opportunity again to learn, and I hope that you will join me for this important conversation. And later that evening, very important, please join us here Monday evening, July 14th at 6 p.m., in which we have an opportunity to learn with our dear friend, Dr. Lenskowski, those that may have gotten a taste from when he presented a few months ago now, it seems like not that long ago, about what it was like to grow up in Jewish South Africa. As he says, the shtetl of Cape Town, right? We were limited in some ways because we only had so much time and it was Shabbat. Now we have the opportunity, expansive time learn and to ask questions and to actually use some technology to view some real insights into some remarkable stories. So Dr. Lenskowski, thank you so much for being willing to join us again. This is Monday at 6 o'clock, and we're going to feed you. We're going to make sure everybody is well seated, and we're going to have a great time. So please, 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 I want to see everybody here. I want everybody here. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity to learn. And now, before I conclude, or we conclude, we're going to invite up our board member, Rona Klotman. Where's Rona? Rona? There you are. Did you want to come up, or do you want to be down here? What's easiest for you? Oh, you got it. Well, you tell me when you get here. We'll figure out. Okay, and then I do also, that's okay. We're going to take our time. We're not going to rush. Okay, now let me just move the mic down a little for you.
Physical therapy works.
Physical therapy, very important. Okay, it's all you.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'd like to take a moment now to share some exciting upcoming events that our temple, you will not want to miss these, so please pay attention. They're wonderful opportunities to come together as a community, celebrate and honor our beloved Rabbi Dan and his family. First, we're highlighting a very special event next week, July 18th. It's called Shabbat Off the Beach. The gathering is particularly meaningful because we're going to be honoring Rabbi Dan's children, Eva and Emmett, 5 to 5:30 right here at the temple. There's storytelling that celebrates family, tradition, and for those who love good food, pizza and an ice cream truck. So that you can't help but come for that. It promises to be a joyful evening filled with laughter and community spirit. And if you look at the email blast, please bring a book for the Hebrew School Library. It's a wish list. If you go on the website, you'll see all the books. They come from Amazon, so you can order them and bring it. All right, next, I want to remind everybody, Shabbat by the Bay will take place all Fridays through August 29th at Havens Beach at 5 to 5:30. So make sure you come. The evenings are a beautiful setting to welcome Shabbat with prayer, connection, and a backdrop of the bay. It's a wonderful time to gather with friends and family as we celebrate our faith together. And of course, as the rabbi said, there's just a few slots left for the Havdalah Sunset Sale. So it's unique to the opportunity and the experience and the beauty of Shabbat out on the water. The cost is $150 a person, which includes wine and light refreshments. Jews always serve something. Please you need to sign up by this weekend, right, Rabbi?
You say so.
Oh. That's what I was told. And it'll be a lovely sunset to connect with one another. So please make your arrangements to be on at the Luna. I think it's the Luna. The Luna, yeah. Also, I'd like to take a moment to mention you can still honor Rabbi Dan and his family by placing an ad in the Commemorative Tribute Journal. It's a meaningful way to express our gratitude and share our appreciation for all the Rabbi has done for our community. If you're interested, reach out for details. There are flyers out, or Shelley is here, or I'm here. So if you really want to ask about it, we'll be happy to let you know what you can do. I encourage all of you to participate in these events. They're not just activities. They are opportunities to strengthen our community bonds and create lasting memories. So whether it's joining for Shabbat off the beach, attending Shabbat by the Bay, sailing with us at sunset, or honoring Rabbi Dan in the Journal, come together and make these events truly special. So, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to use your time with that stair because it's got, yeah, the handle there. Okay. Thank you, Rona. And truly, Lou and I are going to properly thank everybody for already a wonderful start to the Summer of Geffen Love, as it's been called. But as some of you know, we unfortunately got sick right afterwards, so we haven't had the chance yet to really fully articulate it. But as an initial point from Lou and myself and our whole family, thank you. And especially to those that have really worked very hard to make that happen and all the other things happen. We're truly overwhelmed by all the love, and trust me, it comes back to all of you from us as well. So with that, a lot of things coming. By the way, if you're here with us in the temple tonight, there's a whole table now of all the events that are coming up for the whole summer, so much that it's covered the tables in a way that I've never seen before. So thank you. Special shout out to Shelley and to Gail, who've been working especially hard to make sure we have a whole summer of learning and laugh and love and all the great things. So, yes.
I wanted to mention that the music festival in East Hampton is really looking for people to house musicians.
Uh-huh.
And it's an amazing thing because to get an orchestra started in the Hamptons,
Not a simple thing.
wonderful.
Now, so if you're able to open your home, as always, it's appreciated. That we know from our experience, it's surprisingly hard to do that. So if anybody's interested, you can find Celia afterwards. I'm sure you can feel it. Starving musicians. Well, those are our favorite kind around here. We're good at feeding them, so we'll make sure. So with that,
We're going to close on page 647 at the bottom of the page. Oseh Shalom, if you need the words. If you don't, sing along. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
invite us to rise for Kiddush on page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabahat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha'shabbat.
Amen. L'chaim.
Hi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Please join us next door.
Shabbat shalom.
Oop.